Hi, Scott Weaver from Factory Direct Designers Workroom. Today we're going to go over a hobbled Roman shade. Sometimes it's called the soft fold Roman shade. Interesting enough that I went on YouTube and I did a search for it. I also did a search on Google, and it seems like nobody's showing how to make one. So I thought, well, I make plenty of them, so I'm going to show you my version. It may not be the version that you've seen or what have you, but I'm going to show you one that I had just made and what it looks like down. And that's what it looks like down, and it's got the nice soft folds going into it. And the reason why people prefer this is because it has a formed memory. You don't have to play with it. Flat Roman shades, a lot of times you have to play with them, and you bring them up, you got to kind of play with the pleats. But this one, as you bring it up, it kind of takes care of itself. And it folds up and stacks very neatly. So that's one of the key features of it. Now I'm going to go over the principles, because this is a little complicated of a shade. So the first thing you have to understand is how these folds are created. And the way I create them is using a twill tape. And I'm going to turn it around so you can see what the back side of it looks like. And before I do, here's a little disclaimer. On the back of it, you're going to see the strings and you're going to see the tape. And the first thing I'm going to get on as a comment is, oh my God, I can see the strings, and it's not approved for children, and etc. You can always add a separate liner onto these shades if you want. I do it all the time. It will take care of the strings. It'll take care of the twill tape. However, I advise that you never put a shade, whether it's got a back of it or a continuous cord, even when it's mounted to the wall, which this one will be, or inside the window casing. I never advise to use this type when there's children, especially if it's going to be in their bedroom, or if you have small children. I always advise you to use cordless operating, such as a cellular shade or anything that could be cordless. So that is my disclaimer. So with that, I will put it over, and this way you can see how it looks on the back. So this is what the back of it looks like, and it's these tapes right here that are holding the materials in place, and that's where you're getting the folds. So it's the tape that's doing it. Now, this tape is what's going to control the size of it, and I'm going to show you just a little sample of it. And the way it works is, if your shade, for instance, is going to be 30 inches long, you're going to need 60 inches, twice of that, to make the folds, plus your bottom hem, what your bottom hem is. So a 30-inch long shade, you're going to need 60 inches, plus your bottom hem. My hem on this is 2.5 inches, it's doubled, so I'm using 65 inches worth of material. And the tape itself is, if this shade was 30 inches long, which is a little longer, the tape would be cut at 30 inches minus where your hem is, and I'll explain that further in a little bit. But I'm going to show you the principles of it, and we're going to pretend this piece right here is the fabric, and we're going to make it 30-inch long, and I'm just going to cut this at 60 inches. Okay, so that's your fabric, and we're going to go through the whole thing, but I really have to explain the principles first. This is going to be our lining. On the lining, we're only cutting this I'm sorry, this is the tape, not the lining. This is just the tape, this tape that's going on. This is going to be cut at 30 inches. So the tape is 30 and my fabric is 60. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to mark this tape off every 5 inches. So it's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and up here is 30, okay? So I'm marking my tape every 5 inches. If I'm marking my tape 5 inches, I would have to be marking my fabric at 10 inches, and that's what's going to create the fold. So on this, I'm going to mark this off every 10 inches. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the top is 60. Now, this is what's going to happen. Again, this is my fabric. This is the tape that's holding it in. I am going to pin to the bottom, even to the bottom. Now what you'll notice on here is there's my 5-inch mark, but my 10-inch mark is down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my 5-inch mark up to my 10-inch mark. And I'm going to put a pin in. Next I'm going to take my second on my tape and bring it up to the 10-inch for my second fold. Just bear with me because you really have to understand how this is going to work, and I believe this is going to help you with what you're going to have to do. So your 5-inch marks go up to your 10-inch marks. Up to here. Creating the folds, the soft folds. One more. Okay. Now we'll show you what happened here. This is what's creating. This was the material. That is what's creating that soft fold. Marking my tape off 5 inches. I'm marking the back of my material off 10 inches. And I'm bringing the 5-inch mark up to the 10-inch mark, and it's creating the folds. So there you have it. If you give you this a side view of what it looks like. You got the same thing. So with that being said, stay tuned for my next video, because the next video we're going to line a soft fold shade, and then we're going to mark it off and mark off the tapes. And this series will probably take 2 or 3 times, but if you bear with me, I think we can get through it, and we'll create one hobbled or soft fold shade, whatever you'd like to call it. Take care now. Thanks.